What if I told you that you could bike from Garden Hills to Piedmont Park to Emory to Krog Street Market and hardly cross a single street? Yep, we're talking about trails. And in this episode, we're diving into one of the biggest perks of living in Garden Hills, trail connectivity. From the Beltline to Path 400 to the South Fork Conservancy Trails, Garden Hills sits at a unique intersection of Atlanta's growing network of car-free paths. Whether you're a runner, biker, stroller mom, dog walker, or raising a teenager like me who's just trying to get to a friend's house without a ride, this is the kind of access that makes a difference. But before we dive into the miles and maps, let's talk about who we are. I'm Abbie Shepherd, resident and realtor in Garden Hills. I've been fortunate enough to live, work, and play in this neighborhood since 2008. The purpose of this video series is to give you a taste of the true Garden Hills lifestyle. So whether you're a current resident or thinking of moving to the neighborhood, my hope is that you'll find this information helpful and informative. And as always, if you're looking to buy, sell, or simply plug in and get connected, you can call me. Now let's chat about trails and access. So I've been a runner in Atlanta for over 20 years. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When you explore the city on foot, you see a completely different side of it. So when I first moved here, I learned Atlanta like most people do, by car. I figured out which roads cut through to where, how to avoid traffic, and which way Peachtree meanders through the city. But when I laced up my shoes and started running the trails, rail beds, and creek banks, that's when I started to really understand Atlanta. So the city is built in layers. It's hilly, it's textured. The roadways were designed along ridges, literally the highest ground. Ever notice how Peachtree curves and bends through Midtown and Buckhead? That's because it follows the top of the ridge. But down below, there's a whole other network, a layered system of creeks, old rail lines, and footpaths that wind through Atlanta's neighborhoods, often completely hidden from the road system. And that's exactly what makes our city and our neighborhoods so unique. And right here in Garden Hills, we're lucky enough to be at the convergence of three major trails transforming the way we move around the city: the Atlanta Beltline, Path 400, and the South Fork Conservancy Trails. Together, they create a web of connectivity from Sandy Springs to Emory, Piedmont Park to Peachtree Hills, and everywhere in between. So let's break down each one. So Path 400 is a multi-use trail that stretches from Sandy Springs down through North Buckhead, behind Peachtree Park, and connects directly to Lindbergh. It's part of a larger vision for the Buckhead collection of trails, and it's quickly becoming a key corridor for commuters, kids, and weekend cyclists. You can hop on Path 400 in Sandy Springs and stand up for miles all the way down to where it connects to the South Fork Conservancy Trail behind the Home Depot on Cindy Marcus and Lindbergh. Next up is one of my favorites, the South Fork Conservancy Nature Trail system. These trails follow the South Fork of Peachtree Creek, and they're some of the most beautiful in the city, quiet, shady, and full of nature, even in the heart of Atlanta. From Lindbergh, you can head east through Morningside, eventually reaching Emory, or head west towards Piedmont Road, where the trail intersects the Atlanta Beltline's future northeast segment. And here's where it gets exciting. The Beltline is coming to Buckhead. Now, this isn't an episode on the Beltline. Gosh, you could do an entire video series on that project. But let's get a quick overview for those of you who may not know. A new vision for Atlanta, the Beltline idea. Back in 1999, a Georgia Tech grad named Ryan Gravel had a thesis idea. What if we took the abandoned railway corridor and loops around Atlanta, turned it into a network of trails, parks, and transit? He envisioned a 22-mile loop that would connect 45 neighborhoods with new green space, walking and biking, infrastructure, and eventually light rail. This was back when Midtown was empty on weekends and downtown was full of boarded-up buildings. The city was different, less vibrant, more car-dependent, and a little disconnected. Living down in Midtown in that time period was a totally different story. But that thesis has changed everything. Gravel's vision became the Atlanta Beltline, and today it's the cornerstone of our city's growth and character. The Beltline's Northeast Trail Segment 3 is coming very soon, and it's going to change everything for our area. This segment connects Armour-Otley, Path 400, South Fork, Marta Lindbergh, and ultimately to the Peachtree Hills Beltline access point at Kingsley Street. Here's what you need to know. Design is 100% complete. All real estate has been purchased. $42 million in federal funding is secured. Construction bids open summer 2025. Expected completion, June 2026. It's one of the most ambitious Beltline projects to date, and when it's done, we'll have direct access to the full 22-mile Beltline loop, right from Peachtree Hills. Why this matters, especially for families. Now, as a mom of a teenager, let me tell you, this is life-changing. Right now, kids in Virginia Highland, Morningside, and Piedmont Park use the Beltline to get everywhere. School, parks, coffee shops, Krog Street Market, even just meet up with their friends. And it's a safe, car-free way that kids to gain independence and for parents to breathe a little easier. Once a Kingsley Street access is fully connected, kids in Garden Hills and Peachtree Hills can do the same. Scooter to Krog Street Market, easy. Ride to Piedmont Park for a picnic, totally doable. This is the kind of infrastructure that connects families, not just neighborhoods. Putting it all together. So let's recap on how all this ties together. Start on Path 400 up in Sandy Springs, ride down through Buckhead behind Peachtree Park, merge onto the South Fork Conservancy Trail at Lindbergh, take the trail west to Garson and Piedmont where it meets the Beltline. Enter the 22-mile Beltline loop via Kingsley Street and Peachtree Hills. From there, you've now got access to Piedmont Park, Krog Street Market, Ponce City Market, West End, Old Fourth Ward, and eventually the entire city. It's not just a trail, it's a pathway to freedom, to green space, to connection. So whether you're a cyclist, a runner, stroller pusher, or scooter mom like me, these trails are about more than just recreation. They represent a city reimagined, a place where neighborhoods are linked not by highways, but by walkways, waterways, and wildflowers. And here in Garden Hills, we're right at the crossroads. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Garden Hills Lifestyle. I'm Abbie Shepherd, your neighbor, your realtor, and your fellow trail runner. See you out there.